Welcome back to the Women in Movement podcast. We're here at Fort Hamilton Senior Center in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn with Betty, who is the 95-year-old tap dancing teacher on site. She teaches on Mondays. She teaches 3 levels: beginner, advanced, and intermediate. She has a class called Broadway where they sing and tap. They take their performances citywide, or even just to nursing homes, or even where?
The barracks.
The barracks. Oh yes, yes.
There's a lot there. Politics.
And she's been at the center for over 20 years.
More.
Yeah, more. And Betty, can you add some more to this introduction for us?
I do it because I love it. I love dance, and I feel it's very good for seniors to have something other than straight exercise with music that makes them get some life in them to get up, get out, and meet friends, have fun.
Yes, yes. We love all of that. The center is very much a community, and I think one of the first days when I came here, you described the center as the fountain of youth.
Fountain of youth, and as a club.
Yes, yes.
It was like, go to the club.
The club.
Before I even retired, I came here.
Nice.
So I just came for the trips and for Saturday ballroom dance.
Oh, yes, yes. You participate in those programs as well.
Because I was working.
Right. And so even though you are teaching, you're also participating in programs at the site as well, like Latin dance and chair exercise and painting,
which I love.
Yes. And how do you think that there is some correlation, because you're about to go to your paint class this afternoon? Yes. How do you think that there's correlation between the art that you express through dance and the art that you express through paint class?
The contrast of both methods, and thinking and exercise a little bit, and being quietened down with the painting, as far as I'm concerned. And the exercise, of course, is to give you better body movement. And in this center, we're lucky because it's a small center, to have a lot of individual help and instruction for our personal needs.
Right. That is, I think, also very important, especially since it is a senior center and everyone has had many different life experiences that have placed them with sometimes injuries, sometimes advantages. Right. So everyone is very unique. Yes. That walks through the door.
Yes. And in this center, because we are, again, a smaller center, we do get wonderful attention from the staff.
Oh, yes. Yes. So let's go back to your beginning story. So how did you begin to dance, or where did you start to fall in love with dance?
Well, that's going back a long way before World War II, when I was about 3-4 years old. And at that time, there was a movie star, a little girl called Shirley Temple. And every little girl wanted to be like Shirley Temple. So every mom thought maybe her child could be a dancer, and I fell in love with it then. That was before the war.
Wow, that's amazing. So Shirley Temple was before World War II.
Oh, yes.
This is a history.
She was about
class as well.
I guess she was about 3 or 4 years old, and she was absolutely a terrific star at that time.
What was your favorite Shirley Temple song?
Probably On the Good Ship Lollipop.
Yes. You want to do a little sing for us?
On the good ship Lollipop, it's a good trip to the candy shop, etc.
That was beautiful. That was so beautiful.
2 lines.
Well, maybe you can perform a tap piece to one of Shirley's songs.
Possible.
You know?
Very possible.
I love that. So, inspiration from Shirley Temple, and then where did that kind of take you going through the war?
That took me to nothingness, really, when the war started, because everything stopped at that time.
And where were you in the war, for the listeners?
We were in London, and we went through the Blitz, and when we used to go to the shelters all the time, and anyway, my house was bombed, and we had to move to a smaller town, like in the country, called Reading. And at that time, I went to school till I was about 14 years old. And at that time, ballroom and big bands were in very much. So I was really a ballroom dancer till I came here to the center, at which I still did ballroom on a Saturday. That was my love. And when I retired, I saw on the schedules there was tap dancing. That's how I got in here.
So you didn't start tap dancing until
into this center.
This center.
When I finally retired.
But you danced when you were younger. Just regular dance.
Ballroom dancing. But when I saw this on the schedule for tap dance, when I retired, I joined a troupe that had been here maybe a good 20 years even before I came. There was always that on the schedule.
Yeah. It's amazing. I think the tap program at Fort Hamilton's been here for like over 25 years.
More than that. Much more than that.
Yeah.
And at that time, tap was very popular still. And now I think it's getting a new life again. Yeah.
Yeah. With the help of you.
Oh, yeah, yes.
I think your beginner class that you've started, even the beginner and the chair tap, you made some adaptations to allow some of your students who were unable to stand up after COVID. And you wanted to make an adaptation to have chair and beginner tap, which I think has really helped it flourish.
Absolutely. And the point of that was one dancer of my troupe dancers had a stroke. And of course she couldn't do stand-up tap. That's how it got me into the chair tappers. Yeah. And of course COVID killed all that too. So I had to cancel the chair tappers. But there were quite a few tappers from my other days before COVID that had injuries, but they could use their feet. And I did encourage that. And I still hear from them, by the way.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I think, just the practicing of rhythm and the practicing of memory is just so good for the brain.
Absolutely.
It's said that like the body starts to recognize rhythm. We start to see 5-month-old babies or when they start to actually dance to rhythm. So it's very innate in our body to want to be rhythmic.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. So you've not only taught here, but you've also made adjustments into your classes to try to serve whatever the public's needs or wants were. And I think that you've helped the community grow here, not just within TAP, but the other areas too. You come and celebrate
definitely
the holidays and parties, make sure
good times.
Everyone's always dancing. Also, I think so. Another thing I wanted to ask you about was during COVID. You stated that you felt you lost some of your own physical movement as kind of like balance, a little bit of muscle stability. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, I would, because COVID itself, of course, was tough for people that got it. We know that. but I had the isolation of my life because family, of course, they want their parents to stay safe. And I had, Mom, no, you can't go out. Mom, I can't come up. Mom, I'll leave you something on the door. And isolated me for quite a length of time. And I think it went into nearly 2 years, right?
Right.
So I finally said to my son, who was very protective of me, I said, I got to get out. I said, I'm just laying here. No one to talk to. No, isolation is very bad.
Yeah.
We're not meant to be isolated.
No, it's a form of punishment.
It is. Yes, it used to be. But I was lucky because walking on my little streets, I bumped into one of my friends who had a dance studio, and just by luck, everything in life is something happens to something, and you just like a tree. Yeah. You grow with like branches, and that branch will lead to another branch.
Especially when you've created such a network already. You have so much more branches that can intertwine.
We were still under COVID, and she said, she says, I'm starting again. She had to have very strict rules, but you can use the studio because she was my friend. So I had to have 6 people only, spaced out, with masks, with temperature, and very strict rules, because apparently every district, if you had a business, had different rules during COVID.
Right.
So once I got started, I started to get my balance back a little bit, and the girls were great, and I saw the growth again, because it's like, it's not really like taking a class, it's like more friendship and fun with tap.
Yes.
It's not like doing just exercises.
Yeah.
So that's how I started coming back to life again.
Yes, I think tap is very wonderful for the ability to work on rhythms and memory patterns, for especially as you age, for like as individuals may get Alzheimer's, or they might get another form of injury to the brain, whether it's a stroke or something of that nature. It's just but I think the socialization is really what keeps people very young.
That's the word.
It is one of the top markers for longevity in life. So like stressing that, and I think it's also because there's so much that comes behind socialization. You are dealing with the facial expressions of another person, and you're feeling their facial expressions in your own face. Like,
very important.
You're dealing with different conversations and opening yourself up to new ideas, and
right. And friendships.
Yes.
Friendships are formed.
Yes.
And also an experience I've had with one of my dancers who did pass away, and the family was fully knowledgeable about tap. And the fact that it brought so much joy to this girl that passed away made me feel so great.
Yeah.
It made such an important thing in her life. And I hear that all the time from dancers from 20, 30, even longer.
Right.
Yeah, so it makes me feel good, gives me encouragement to keep going as long as I can.
Yeah, and you're still going.
And I'm still trying, I'm still going.
Yes. Another topic I wanted to ask, another question I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite thing to teach in tap?
I love it when I get beginners. I love it when I have to start off with the actual foot, what the foot does.
Yes.
Because you have 3 parts. You have a toe and a heel and a ball of your foot. And each teacher teaches with different language, because I'm not professional.
Right.
I do have some professional language, but I generally use my own words to make them understand from the brain to the foot.
Yes.
And if I yell out, shuffle or step or heel or toe, they get it. And then that comes into the rhythm of the choreography that I do.
Yeah. Words, sometimes we try to find the exact right word for something, but really the exact right word for something is what the other person understands from that word.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter if you're talking about your latissimus dorsi or if you're just telling someone to feel like they're shooting their head through the ceiling like a rocket ship to stand straighter.
Yes.
It's
absolutely right.
How can that communication come through clearer? I think is much.
I think that's one of my skills.
Yes. Well, you have a great imagination too.
I do.
You do.
I do.
Yeah.
I have still got a love for life.
Yes, you do. You have many new experiences that you've gone and done in the past couple years I've seen. So, do you want to talk about one of those new experiences that you've done?
I do. I had someone here in the center who tricked me.
Tricked you
into something that I never would have dreamed I ever would think of doing. And that was pole dancing. Only because she told me that it was all about dance, and a lovely teacher, a brand new teacher, or an older teacher who had great skills. So, of course, she said she wanted to meet me.
Yes, I said Anna wanted to meet you.
Yes, you did. And at the end of our conversation about doing it and when it's going to happen, then the pole thing came in. So once I committed, and then I got curious, of course, and I did go and I did something.
Yes.
That was wonderful.
Yes. And you were balancing on one foot and trusting and leaning back and doing body waves. You were doing amazing movements.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful experience. And I'm still a bit adventurous, even at this stage of life.
Yes. And I think not only, or maybe this, but I think with adventure comes trust. And I think it was beautiful also to see you trust yourself to do certain things, like spin around. Like you spun around pretty fast and pretty far,
That was natural, though.
It is, yeah.
I still thank God. God is good to me.
Yeah.
And support, of course, of everyone else around me. That makes me feel so great when I walk into the center.
Yeah. Did you feel like emotionally changed by the trip? Do you feel like you were able to embrace a little more of a different personality in yourself, or?
Well, it gave me another story to tell. Which I have so many. Of course, we just skim through this one.
Right.
Because each part of my life is a story.
Yes. You have so many stories. So many stories. Well, going back to the fact that you said one of your favorite things to teach is beginners.
Yes.
What do you enjoy most with students? Like, what? Yeah.
I enjoy it when they get it. When they get it, they get my words and they get the use of their feet, and then they get the rhythm. Some people, they will do the mechanics of the foot and the sound, but they don't have the rhythm. And they'll never have the rhythm, but they love it. And that's the joy of it. They love it, and I don't care if they don't do it exactly the way I would like it, but I see it, the expressions on their faces, they love it.
Yeah. I think I just read this in a book called Move, but the body, when you're just putting pressure into the feet, the body actually sends 10 to 15 more percent of the body sends 10 to 15% more blood to the brain when you're putting pressure in your feet. So just the mechanics of tapping in different
Yeah.
ways
Well,
is
yeah,
it's improving their lifespan
definitely.
and their ability to cognitively process things. Yeah.
And then as they get into it more, then they learn other like presentation,
Right.
how they address an audience once we start doing shows. I mean, you don't just stand there and do your feet. You've got to learn arm movements. You've got to learn how to look good.
Yes.
And always try and smile.
Yeah.
Like I see just before me.
Yes.
And then one smile brings out another smile.
Yeah.
So if you're too serious, even though you want them to do what I would like them to do, it doesn't work. You have to really relate to who you're teaching.
Yes. I think there was a lot in there. One, the smiling, the ability to, when you see people on Broadway just have these beautiful smiles. This was actually brought up in a separate conversation with another person, and they were describing the smile in the Broadway faces. But also the arm movements too, while you're trying to keep the rhythm.
That's right.
But you're having soft arms.
That's very soft arms.
So it's like soft arms, but trying to make harder feet a little bit.
Yes, everything will work together eventually. That's why you have to, I tell them, when they first come in as beginners, give it 3 classes. Mm-hmm. See if you're going to love it. If you don't love it, I don't want you to worry about tap shoes or anything.
Right.
And if they love it, they will do it.
Right.
And once they hear the sound, again, the hearing is very important. And I have to work with people, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. So I try and I work in the middle of a class. Mm-hmm. But if they need that extra help, which you recognize when you teach the different abilities, and you work towards that. So I switch people around a lot for that reason. Yes,
and I think that when you were also talking about the arms, it was because I took a couple of tap classes with you, and I found it very challenging to keep the arms soft and light as I was trying to strike the ground with my feet.
That's right.
Especially because, my background is in Irish dancing, where
it's heavier.
It's much heavier.
And the arms are straight.
The arms are very straight. Yes. They don't move, or you get points deducted. That's so, right. That was my only introduction to dance as a child, except for just, trying to choreograph stuff with my cousins when we were little at family parties. But
definitely. I did that too when I was
that's it's a beautiful thing, just getting a bunch of family members together, and the kids would go and choreograph something and perform it for the adults. It was so fun. I think also something you talk about a lot too is posture. And it's nice for dance, but it's also just nice in general to be walking around with a nice upright posture. It not only
very hard. It's very, when you get older, and even I at this stage of life, I'm finding that I have to really be aware and shoulders back.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how I was. I guess my mother always told me that.
I think it also allows you to, like you were saying earlier, present yourself to the space. And I think it not only gives this ability to present yourself to the space, but also be ready to invite stuff in. If you're closed off, sometimes I feel like it doesn't give off the idea that you are open and ready for a conversation.
That's true too.
And
one other thing is, although it's not needed as much now as it did in my young time, appearance was always, they say, don't judge a person by appearance, but appearance is important. besides the greeting, pleasantly with your face, a general appearance was, at my time of life, very important. Now people go to the concerts and everything in jeans and a shirt, and we were always dressed.
Yes.
So I'm still in the old days pretty much.
Yes, there's a different way to present yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay, I have a couple other questions, but what would you say is like a secret to your success in teaching?
The secret to success is, for me, that keeps me going, again, is what I said before, was seeing people who never danced before gradually go further and further with it, and even they go to other classes besides mine because they love it so much.
Yeah.
That's the joy I get. And of course, choreography, I think I'm getting better and better as the years are going by. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. Choreography is challenging. It's also challenging.
All mental.
Yes.
It's all mental, and I do it in my kitchen. I don't know how it's going to come out when I see it done in class.
Yeah. And yeah, you never know how something is going to actually come out when the bodies are together in one space.
That's right.
It always looks like something in your head, and then it's something completely different on paper.
Yes, because I do it in my kitchen, and I always tell the class, I could do it in the kitchen with my feet even under the table. I don't even stand up, but you bring it to life.
Yes.
It's a two-part.
Yes. Okay, yes. So choreography is imagination at its finest, because then it doesn't always come out the way that it's imagined, and then you have to adjust it.
Yes, when you have 20, 25 people in front of you doing something that you created, and it looks good and it sounds good and they've got it from me, how could I express what I've seen in my kitchen to a big class?
Yes, yes.
And that's the wonder of it.
Yes. Well, I think too, it's also good to note that like choreography tells a story, and it's cool because art is kind of like a message through time. And I feel like you've had a lot of years in dance, and the choreography has changed, the story has changed a little bit, or if you watch an old video, the story has changed a little bit. But it is very interesting how art tries to build a story and serve as a portal through time, send messages.
It's all an experience.
Yeah. Another question is, are you reading any good books right now?
I read a lot of books, but I don't remember the title. In fact, I just read a book that was about the ending of an era in England, and London, as I remember, was very class distinction between language and manner. And this book was The Last Debutante. When a girl reached about 18 years old, they were brought out in high society only.
Right.
And the image of that was that the girls that were brought out had to go to all these balls and 12,000 different dresses, etc. And anyway, the story involved, and this, as it gets into more about the characters, the ending of the story, which I'm coming to, is the first one where I didn't think the ending was going to come out the way it did in the story.
Ah.
So that was kind of, that was really something different for me in reading, but I do read. I try and read a lot. I love to read.
Yeah, and would you say that there's even like there's times where you're building a choreography and the ending is a different ending than you?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes it doesn't work. You're right. You're
Right.
absolutely right.
Or it does work, but it surprises the audience.
Yeah,
You know?
and sometimes the hardest thing I think of, they do it.
Yeah.
And the easiest thing they don't get.
It's always surprising. Life is always surprising. Yeah, something I think you do beautifully is you know how to live like by just being present. And we don't know what this world is gonna give us, but you're just present and ready and
grateful and thankful, with the help and support of my family, of course, and the encouragement that I get here.
Nice. Beautiful. Yes, so we've covered a lot here. Is there anything else you'd like to kind of talk about or discuss?
Yes, I would. I feel traveling is very important in your life if you can. And if not, this country has so much to offer. You don't have to travel abroad. There is so much to offer in this wonderful country.
Getting those experiences have helped you open your eyes to more things.
Even whatever you pick up, whether it's culture, eating, of course, is always good, amusement and different people, socialization again, and music. Music is international.
Yeah.
If you can play an instrument, if you have a voice, whatever you do, in any country, you fit in.
Yes, that's very true. That's very true. And what would you say if you had like one message that you could if you just had one message to give to people, what would it be?
Get through the hard times and the tragic times. Make it 100 times wonderful when you have a good time.
I love that. I love that. And did you find that moving in different ways or traveling helped you get through the hard times?
Yes, and music, for me, music and dance brought me back to life many times.
Wow, yeah. Yeah.
And I appreciate this center very much.
Nice. And what are some of the great times that you appreciated 100% more?
A little glass of wine, a beautiful ballroom dance, and adventure.
Nice. Really.
Always. And friendships.
Yeah.
And social abilities and fun.
Yeah. And then when you appreciate it 100% more, I'm feeling like
on the good times.
Yeah,
absolutely. Especially when you get older. If I have a good day, I thank God. Number one, I thank my family. I think that I can still do what I'm doing and carry on as long as I can.
Yes, yes. And I think when you say to embrace it with 100%, I'm thinking more of like my whole body. How can my whole body just feel this moment? Like, what does it feel like in my hands? What is the sensory feeling in the wind or the smell?
You can, and the satisfaction that you get for yourself. But when you get older, you get more limited. So if I say I can still walk and stand up straight, it's good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people that can't even do that.
Yeah.
So people think I am special because I stand up straight sometimes and put up an appearance. Doesn't mean because the outside look good, you're still inside your 95.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's all good. And this was wonderful.
Yes, it was very wonderful. It was so nice to have this conversation. We've had so many conversations before.
Yes, we have.
But it's always beautiful talking to you because I learned so much. Going back to that, I learned that Shirley Temple came out before World War II. But
many experiences.
Yeah.
And but everyone goes through some trauma in life.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how perfect you want your life to be, whether you have a partner that passes on or a husband or children. And you get through somehow. God gives you the strength to get through. But for me, music and dance did it.
Oh, wonderful. All right. Well, if anyone has any more questions for us, you can leave it in the comments. Or you can stop by Fort Hamilton Senior Center on Mondays and come and take a class with Betty. She teaches. Want to give us your teaching time?
The teaching is from 10 to 11:15 for the advanced class on the Broadway, condensed.
Yes.
And then I have the full 11:15 to 12:15 for my wonderful beginners and intermediate.
Beautiful. Well, yes, stop on by the center and hang out with Betty and take her class.
Yeah.
Or come take art with her.
That's right. Painting is wonderful, and that's a new skill that I used to like to draw, and I'm very happy with that.
Well, it's also nice to see that you are working on foot skills and hand skills, because painting is a lot of intricate detail with your hands.
And imagination.
Yes,
and color.
And color, yes.
Color in life is wonderful.
Color in life, that's beautiful. I love this. Well, thank you again so much for coming.
Thank you for
hanging out for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
I hope I do too.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.